Hello, and welcome to Own Your Retirement. My name is Albert Lalonde from Kaizen Financial Group. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 586-752-7008 or visit us online at www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizen. And while on my website, click on the podcast page to check out the past shows and also to subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. All right. For many Americans, the combination of a 401k and a monthly Social Security payment is the foundational piece of the retirement strategies. And when you consider that your 401k contribution can be automatically taken from your paycheck and that many employers provide a matching contribution, it's easy to see their appeal. But as with many other elements of your financial strategies, there are potential mistakes hiding in the weeds, just waiting to trip us up on our journey to retirement. So, during today's episode, we're going to highlight and discuss 8 different potential 401k mistakes that could make it harder to reach retirement goals. But before we get into our exciting topic, let me introduce my co host, Tony Shore, who is even more valuable than any 401k match could ever be. Hey, Tony, how we doing, buddy?
Not true. A 401k match is free money,
Yes, it
right?
is.
That's basically, it's one of the only times you're going to get free money in your life. So you have to take advantage of the employer sponsored match
For sure.
if one is available. But I don't think I'm better than that. I'm good at my job, but not that good, not as good as free money. I'm never going to win that battle with our listeners. Hey, do you want free money or listen to Tony? Free money every time. That's for sure. But that is good. 401ks, so many people have them, or something
Mhm.
like them, the 403b, 457 TSP. So this is really a good show to listen to get information if you have that employer sponsored plan.
Yes.
And the majority of people I know have 401ks. So this is good. Millions of Americans have 401ks or
Right.
a similar employer sponsored plan that a lot of these things will apply to. So I think you've picked a great topic today, Albert. But before we get into that, how have you been doing? What's going on over there?
Very well. The weather's starting to warm up. Spring is coming, hopefully. But no, things have been good here. We just, like I said before, had a big client event a couple of weeks ago. Now we're marching into April and, just looking at continuing educating my clients and talking about some things like the elephant in the room. It's a whole different topic. But everything is good here, sir. How about you over there?
Great. Doing really good. Looking forward to spring, hoping it finally gets here and
Right?
stays. But this morning it was 26 degrees when I woke up here in Minnesota. So not so much fun there. But
Right.
we usually get the weather we get, you get about 2 days later. So just
Right.
look
Right.
forward to that there in the Michigan area. So Albert, everything's good here.
Good.
We're focusing on 401ks because they are essential to so many people. Where do you want to begin with this topic?
Well, let's go to a Kiplinger article titled 8 401k Mistakes That Could Tank Your Retirement. Uh, when it comes to 401k mistakes, learning from the experts can save you big. In fact, legendary Warren Buffett once famously said, rule number one, never lose money. Rule number two, never forget rule number one. Now, this is especially true for retirement planning, where there aren't always second chances. Now, with pensions vanishing and Social Security facing uncertainty, the 401k has become the backbone of retirement savings for countless Americans. Now, the article references a Vanguard study titled Job Transitions Slow Retirement Savings and a Gold Banking's rate study called 5 Reasons the Middle Class is Withdrawing from the Retirement Accounts Early. They both reveal common 401k missteps, and any of which could cost you almost $300,000 during your career.
Wow. So one mistake could cost me 300,000 bucks. I mean, you've got my attention now. Let's just
Yes,
put it that way.
that's
That's
that's big.
crazy. Yeah.
Well, you have to understand, many experts agree that, let's say, a 401k is one of the most effective ways to build retirement savings, offering tax benefits and, if available, an employer match that can significantly boost contributions. Automating savings can also help maximize those annual limits. Not yet 33% of Americans, according to the article, are cashing out the retirement funds early, a move that could put them at risk of financial hardships in later years. Now, among other potential pitfalls withdrawing from a, let's say, 401k before age 59 and a half, it triggers a 10% early withdrawal penalty and additional income taxes. So people either withdraw early out of financial, let's say, desperation, or maybe from lack of awareness about the long term consequences, Tony.
Well, yeah, and there are long-term consequences that people don't often think about, and that's where you come into play. That's why working with somebody like yourself is so important. Meet with a financial services professional
Yes.
before you make that early withdrawal, right? From an employer-sponsored retirement plan. You might have better options, and you've got to look at everything. So, what's the first potential 401k mistake you want to talk about?
Well, the first mistake to avoid is simply not understanding the difference between 401k plans. See, when it comes to 401k plans, you might have two options: a traditional 401k and a Roth 401k. But do you know the difference between them? Let's break it down. First, what they have in common: both traditional and Roth 401ks allow your contributions and any investment gains to grow tax free. They also have the same contribution limits. And if your employer offers matching contributions, both types of accounts qualify. Now, where they differ: a traditional 401k is funded with pre tax dollars, meaning you won't pay taxes on your contributions now, but you will when you withdraw the money in retirement.
Mhm.
This upfront tax break can be a big advantage, especially if you're, let's say, in a higher tax bracket now while you're working. Now, a Roth 401k, on the other hand, is funded with money you've already paid taxes on. The upside, well, when you retire, you can withdraw your contributions and any earnings completely tax free. So all that growth stays in your pocket, Tony.
Right. And choosing between that traditional 401k and a Roth 401k is another terrific reason to build a lasting relationship with a financial advisor, a services professional like yourself, if you haven't already, because you want to make the right choices for your own personal situation, not just do what a coworker did or
Correct.
what your neighbor does, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own unique situation on this. Now, the next common mistake is, well, not doing your due diligence when changing jobs. You see, switching jobs can mean a nice bump in salary, but are you making the most of it? According to the 2024 Vanguard study I referenced at the top of the show, 55% of job switchers ended up reducing their 401k savings by $300,000 during their lifetime, simply
Wow.
because they didn't adjust their savings rate to match their new higher income. Now, the study notes that most employees, about 64%, saw about a 10% pay increase when they changed jobs. But here's the kicker, Tony. Fewer than half took the smart step of increasing or even maintaining their previous savings rate. Instead, most people unintentionally decrease how much they were saving for retirement. So, the study also found that those with voluntary 401k enrollment fared even worse compared to those automatically enrolled. But even auto enrolled employees weren't in the clear. 60% of them stuck with the default savings rate, which is often just 3%, which is usually isn't enough to build a strong retirement fund for the future. And it's easy to overlook, Tony, increasing your 401k contributions when you get a raise. But if you don't, you risk underfunding the lifestyle you're used to just when you'll need it the most. And that's in retirement.
Well, that's awesome. Now, we should probably let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you to set up that no charge, no obligation consultation you're offering if they have any questions about this or how to maximize their retirement accounts?
Sure. Listeners, you can visit my website at www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, or call my office at 586-752-7008. And we can discuss how we can answer your questions and address your concerns about your 401k or your retirement goals or any other part of your financial strategy.
All right. Well, this has been a really good conversation so far. You've been kicking around some common 401k mistakes and
Mhm.
how making just one of them could cost you a lot of money and potentially make that path to retirement that much more difficult or derail some of your
Mhm.
retirement plans or goals. So, where do we go next? What else do we need to understand about this?
Well, let's go back to that Kiplinger article titled Eight 401k Mistakes That Could Tank Your Retirement. Now, here's something you might not know. Your 401k doesn't just follow you when you switch jobs, Tony. And that might explain why, as of May 2023, there were a staggering $29 million forgotten in 401k accounts out there, holding more than 1.6 trillion in unclaimed money. Yep, that's trillion with the T, according to the latest data from the Capitalize cited in the article. Now, it's easy to see how it happens. You land a job, set up a 401k, then move on to something new, and boom, your old retirement account slips off your radar. The good news is, if you got a lost 401k, there's a way to track it down. Thanks to the Secure 2.0 Act of 2022, the Department of Labor is working on a retirement savings lost and found database to help people reconnect with their old accounts. Now, it's still a work in progress, but definitely worth checking out if you think you might have some retirement money waiting for you. In fact, to find out more about that program, just visit lostandfound.dol.gov. Again, that's lostandfound.dol.gov.
Yeah, that's .gov at the end, and it
Mhm.
is a great tool. I was actually just reading about that last week, and I think it's great. I'm gonna go on there and see if I have any lost money that I've
Yeah, I was just
forgotten
gonna
about.
say, are
I
you
mean,
forgetting about something?
it's a no-brainer. A tool to help us find lost or forgotten money sounds like a great idea to me.
It is, and you'd be surprised. I have seen it in my past where my clients all of a sudden out of nowhere is like, "Oh, we were just notified we had this 401k from 20 years ago."
Right. I
So,
mean, the stats are amazing at how many people have forgotten about 401k or retirement plans with $50,000 or more in them.
yeah.
It's
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, actually under 30 and under is where the most mistakes are, 'cause people just think, "Oh, it's not that much," in the beginning. It could
Right.
have been 5, 10,000, and now it's worth 30, and they never thought about that. So,
Right. Isn't
it's
that
pretty
crazy?
amazing. It
Yeah.
is. Alright, so moving on now, the article next touts that not knowing or understanding your current 401k investments as an error you should try to avoid. Now, what
Mm.
do I mean? If you just set up your 401k and forgotten about it, you're not alone. Why? Because a lot of people, especially those automatically enrolled, they don't pay much attention to how their money is actually being invested. But here's the thing, it's worth checking on, folks. Many financial services professionals recommend adjusting your risk level over time. So going for more growth when you're younger and then shifting towards safer or more fixed income investments as you get older. Now, one way to do this without much effort is, well, use a target date fund. These automatically adjust your risk level as you age so your investments stay on track with your retirement goals. Now, fees are another reason to keep an eye on your 401k. High fees eat away at your savings, leaving less money to grow over time. Now, at the very least, take a look at your 401k's annual fee disclosure statement. But even better, log into your account every now and then and check on your investments and fees. Now, a financial services professional can help you make, let's say, sense of all of this. And even if the fees seem high, one option is to contribute just enough to get your employer match. Why? Because, like Tony said earlier, that's free money. And then put the rest in an IRA, which also comes with possible tax benefits, Tony.
Right. And tax benefits are something we'd all like. We like to minimize that tax burden
For
and never
sure.
walk away from money you're entitled to. Right. I
Yes.
mean, that's got to be a rule. And again, to help you do that, somebody like yourself, a financial services professional, can help you make sure you know where all your money is and you're maximizing it.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
financial service professional can help you rebalance if you need it as well.
Right.
Now, the article's next common error says is that people aren't taking full advantage of the employer match, especially when the company's offering it. This is a simple way to boost your retirement savings without doing any extra work. Many employers do offer a 401k match, meaning they'll match a portion of what you contribute, usually up to a fixed percentage of your salary. And here's the kicker: if you're not contributing enough to get that full match, you're basically, well, as Tony said earlier, walking away from free money. It's one of the easiest ways to grow your retirement savings. So if you're not already taking advantage of it, please, please, please start now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Today, right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And triggering your employer match can give you and your financial strategy a fresh jolt of energy, which helps too, right?
For sure, for sure. All right, let's talk about the next mistake to avoid, and that's not being vested. And an employer 401k match is a great hook, but there's a catch. You might not get to keep that money right away. That's because of vesting, which means you must work for your employer for, let's say, a certain amount of time before those match funds are officially yours. Now, a common vesting schedule runs usually 3 to 5 years, but every company is different. So make sure you understand that. And then some let you keep a percentage of the match each year until you're fully vested, while others may require you to stay the full period before you get 1 cent. Now, the good news is the money you contribute is always 100% yours, no matter when you leave. So before you plan, let's say, your next career move, check your company's vesting rules. You don't want to miss out on money you've been already working towards.
Yeah. There have been some people, and I knew one instance where if they'd stayed 30 more days,
Mhm.
they had worked at a company for a number of years and gotten a 401k match. But they left 30 days before the vesting period.
Mm.
It was, I think their vesting period was like 2 years
Okay.
or 3 years. Some are shorter, like 6 months,
Yep.
but they had a 3-year and they left a month before, so they didn't get any of that money, and they didn't
Wow.
realize it at the time. So,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, 30 days more working somewhere for a few $1,000, yeah, extra, I think, most people would make it work, right?
I would say yes.
Uh,
I think that last 30 days.
yeah,
Just saying.
yeah. So what does the article have to say about early withdrawals from these retirement accounts?
Well, it's basically saying it's another common mistake, Tony.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about dipping into your 401k early, I would suggest think twice. While it might seem like an easy solution when money is tight, things like cashing out or taking a loan or even making a hardship withdrawal can seriously derail your retirement savings. That said, I get it. Life happens. And if you're facing a real emergency, using your 401k might be unavoidable. Now, the upside is that 401k loans often come with lower interest rates than traditional loans. And since you're borrowing from yourself, repayments happen through payroll deductions. Plus, they don't affect your credit score. But here's the downside: if you cash out before age 59 and a half, you'll likely get hit with a 10% excise penalty plus the income taxes. And even hardship withdrawals, while available in many plans, often come with extra fees. Now, taking money out too soon is one of the big reasons so many people struggle to save enough for retirement. So, bottom line, if you can avoid it, leave your 401k alone. Your future self, Tony, will thank you.
Yeah, I think that's really important, Albert. And I know that you have a lot of tools. You
Mhm.
have a 401k guide uh, that can help our listeners out there. And if they want a copy at no charge or want to sit down and talk to you about this, there's no charge. There's no obligation for that.
Correct.
How can they set up that consultation, Albert?
folks, if you really are interested in making sure you're optimizing your 401k, give my office a call at 586-752-7008. Or as always, you can visit me online at www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizn.
All right. I like it. Kaizen. And again, the number, if you want to call to set up that consultation, is 586-752-7008. But KaizenFinancialGroup.com is the website. Great show so far, Albert. I think we have time for one or two more. What else do you have for us?
Well, let's go back to that Kiplinger article, 8 401k
Sure.
mistakes that could tank your retirement. And next highlights not rolling over an old 401k as a mistake you need to avoid. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of people, when they change jobs, they wonder, what do you do with your old 401k? Usually have a few options. Leave it where it is, roll it into an IRA, or move it into your new employer's 401k plan. But sometimes keeping it with your old employer isn't the best move. In fact, if your balance is under $7,000, your former employer might force a distribution, either sending you a check, which could mean paying taxes, or rolling it into an IRA on your behalf. Not only is that a hassle, but if you switch jobs frequently, it's easy to lose track of all the multiple old 401ks over time. In fact, the Vanguard study we talked about, referenced earlier in the show, found that 55% of job switchers ended up reducing their retirement savings by an average of $300,000 just by not rolling over their 401ks. That said, keeping your old 401k can sometimes be a smart choice. If your previous employer's plan has lower fees or, let's say, better investment options than your new one, it might be worth staying put. And if you're thinking about retiring early, there's something called the Rule of 55, which lets you withdraw from your 401k penalty free if you leave your job after the year you turn 55. Now, if you roll that money into an IRA, you actually lose that option. So before making a move, work with your financial services professional to compare plans and consider what your future goals are. It could save you a lot of money in the long run.
Well, yeah, it's easy to see how switching jobs several times could make it easier to forget about that 401k, like we talked about earlier, especially when you factor in all the hustle and chaos of something like buying a home or starting a family and changing jobs, just the normal chaos that comes with everyday life, right?
Right. All right. Now, we've been discussing today about some consistent reasons many people take early withdrawals from their 401ks. Life happens, we get it, and unexpected expenses can pile up fast. Whether it's a major car, a home repair, let's say a family emergency, or another financial curveball, it's tempting to dip into that 401k. But before you do, get advice from your financial service professional about how to prepare for maybe a potential financial emergency because you might have better options. Debt or everyday expenses are other common reasons people tap into 401ks. If you lost a job or struggling to, let's say, find a new one or are dealing with credit card or student loan debt, your retirement savings might seem like the quick fix. But man, before making that move, look at other strategies to pay off those credit card debt. There may be a smarter way to get back on track, and that is where your financial service professional should help in that moment. And then there are medical bills. A Trans America report titled The Retirement Outlook of the American Middle Class found that 20% of people who pull from retirement accounts do so to cover medical costs. Now, here's the real challenge. Before touching your 401k, see if there are alternative ways to handle those expenses. And I guarantee you'll thank yourself later when your retirement savings stay intact.
And really, that's the bottom line. That's what it's all about. And this
Yeah.
has been a great show, Albert. But before we go, let our listeners know one last time how they can set up that no charge, no obligation consultation with you to get their questions answered, make sure they're doing the right thing.
Yes, folks, you know what? Let us help answer your questions and address your concerns about your 401k, your retirement goals, on any other part of your financial strategy. Just Go to my website, www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, or call my office at 586-752-7008. Remember, it's our goal to help you prepare for retirement so you can own your retirement.
All right. And that does it for today's episode of Own Your Retirement with our host, Albert Lalonde.
Take care, everybody.